What's going on, you guys? It's Ariel here. Welcome back to the Gamers Respite. We have Blessing. I feel so bad that I don't actually know how to pronounce your name. So would you do me the honor of pronouncing your full name for me? Because I would
Yes.
love to know how it's pronounced.
Blessing Adeoye.
Oh yeah, that is beautiful. Actually, I love that
Yeah.
so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always growing up, I feel like a lot of people who grew up with like different cultural backgrounds in like a Western country like deal with this of I when I grew up as a kid, I would like mispronounce my name on purpose to make it easier for other people. So I'd be like, "Oh,
Oh
it's
my god.
Adoye or whatever." And then after a while, I was like, "Nah, fuck that." Like, can I curse here? I
Yeah,
forget if I
absolutely. Yes. Fuck yes.
Okay, cool. But yeah, after a while I was like, no, I'm gonna make people pronounce every syllable. Like I should
Yes.
actually represent my name well because there's so many Adioyes out in the world, and like when I allow people to mispronounce my name or when I don't like correct it or whatever, I'm sure the other Adioyes there's a chance that they hear it and they're like, what the fuck? Or other Nigerians in general, right? Might hear it and be like,
Exactly.
yo, what the fuck? Like, you got to make sure people know what's up. And so, yeah, Blessing Adeoye Jr. is what I go by.
I love that. And you guys, you know him, you love him from Kind of Funny. You guys have seen him on the podcast, you've seen him in YouTube videos. Welcome on in. I really appreciate you being here, Blessing.
Yeah, I'm very honored. Yeah, I forget what we were talking about. I think we are talking about like magic cards or something, and then you brought up the idea of me coming through. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to talk to you about video games.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. Like, can we just absorb what kind of year it has been so far right now for a moment? It's like, it's
Oh yeah.
absurd the amount of things that have not only happened culturally in video games, but video games in general have just been, there's so many released that are just back-to-back bangers. One of them being Dispatch that has been released recently. I need to know, have you played Dispatch?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I played Dispatch. I loved Dispatch. Have you finished it yet?
I haven't even gotten into it yet, and I need to. It's on my wish list.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, Dispatch was one that I was always looking forward to Dispatch, but I had an interesting journey with it where they first revealed it. It was, I believe, Laura Bailey and Aaron Paul on the Game Awards stage last year. And I was like, this game looks really cool. Like it's kind of the return of Telltale in a way. It's starring all these different people. It's a superhero thing. I'm all the way into this. And then they dropped a demo in I want to say the summer during Steam Next Fest, and I tried it, and I was like, wait a second, this is like a strategy management simulator. Like, what's going on here? Like, I am like on a desktop command, like dispatching these different heroes and stuff, and it totally flipped on its head what I thought that game was. And I played that demo twice. The first time, kind of in shock that that game was really different from what I thought it was going to be. But then the second time, really having fun with it because toward the end of my first playthrough of the demo, that's when I was like, hold on. I kind of see the vision, and then played it again and was really into it. And since then, I couldn't wait for it to come out, and I was so happy playing through it and being able to experience that it lived up to very high expectations because I even though I was looking forward to it so much, I wasn't sold on it being like, oh, this is gonna be a game of the year contender. This is gonna be one of your favorite experiences of the year, just because that's such a high bar. And having now played it, it met it met that bar, like it really I think went above and beyond as far as being a really fun game, but then also being just a really well made Telltale inspired video game narrative story that I think really hit it out the park in many of its aspects.
And from what I've seen of the game, I got kind of what was it? What do the kids call it? Like jump scared, about what that one scene that Laura Bailey has in the game, and I'm just like, oh, this is something else. This is an experience apparently. So
Yeah.
I did not know what I was going to be in for necessarily. So I saw one of my friends streaming it, and I was like, okay, I need to play this game. So I put it on my wish list. I'm saving it for when reviews calm down a tad iPad and I can play it over break and just be like consuming it and just actually paying attention to it. Because I don't know about you, when you're going through and you're reviewing different titles, your brain kind of just goes into autopilot of where it's like, this title I need to do, this one I need to do. Like, do you ever feel yourself when you're reviewing different games, just like, okay, like writing like the same thing for different reviews because you become so used to
Mm.
just doing them over and over and over again, one after the other?
Yeah, a little bit. I one of the things that I've been trying to be better about and break out of is breaking down video games by their elements because it's really easy for me to come onto a review and be like, "Oh yeah, I love the game, how I love the combat, I like how this game looks, I dislike the story, I like the sound design or whatever," and kind of like almost treat it like a checklist of, visuals good, sound bad, like and I because I think that's an uninteresting way to talk about video games, but I often fall into that trap just because those are the easy bullet points I can fall back on, and I've done this so much to where I can be a little autopilot, but I think the challenge and like the thing you need to do as a critic or a reviewer is break out of that pattern and look at like video games are art, and so I think every piece of art is trying to do something different, right, and deserves to be talked about as its own individual thing. And so sometimes that can be tough when it is, yeah, we're doing so much, and it can kind of be a grind a little bit of like, okay, I just reviewed this game 3 days ago. Now I'm reviewing this game now, and like trying to think of something fresh to say about every single one of them that's not been said before. It can be very tough, but it's definitely something that I've been trying to work on myself.
That's something I found when I was reviewing the Mass Effect series because I just recently I finished them this year for the first time, and I was trying to go about it because I thought to myself, these games are reviewed to the hells. Like, it is the one of the most reviewed games ever,
Mhm.
and trying to go about it differently, like you say, like there's so much that you have to account for, like your personal play style, like how everything was done to such a subjective level. And it brings a point that I remember seeing on Twitter. I'm no longer on Twitter, but it was one of the things I saw at the time when I was there, of where there was someone who pointed out that game reviewers shouldn't be subjective, they should only stick to facts. And I'm thinking that would make for a very boring review, though.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is I think there's definitely a sect of the internet that wants that I think doesn't know what they really want from games media. Slash, they don't really want anything from games media, and like to each their own. Obviously, I'm not here to be like everybody needs to read IGN or anything like that, right? But like, I think people are very unfair to the position people are put in as reviewers when they say things like everything needs to be objective, because when you think about a review, like, you don't know, that's boring. Like, nobody, if you want what's on the back of the box, read the back of the box of the game. That'll tell you things. There are websites that will tell you the details about a thing in an objective way, right? You go to howlongtobeat.com to get to get the data of how long a game is, like you can go to Digital Foundry, which in some ways might be subjective as well, but Digital Foundry will do like the minute breakdowns of the level of fidelity that a game is bringing, and people love it for that. But this goes back to what I said earlier about video games being art. Is like, I think all art, has the ability to be taken in a specific way that could hit positively, could hit negatively, could hit in a unique way, right? Not even everything needs to be like a positive ding or a negative ding. Like, there are ways in which I've experienced things where I'm like, damn, this really spoke to my background. Or, for example, I don't know if did you play Venba?
No, I didn't. I want to.
Yeah, so like Venba came out a couple years ago. It's a game about a lady named Venba who moved to Canada from India. She's like she's first generation, living in North America with her husband, and they have a kid. And the game is about how is about her and her husband raising this child, and it's told through cooking food and like these different meals that she would make for her kid. And there were so many takeaways I had from that game, mainly being like speaking to my own experience as somebody who's first generation American, right? My parents moved here from Nigeria, had me here. and I grew up eating their food, eating Nigerian food, and having these ties, but like also having the very Americanized, growing up in a very Americanized culture, or I guess American culture, because I grew up in Illinois. Um, there are my the things that I took away from that game that had nothing to do with like, oh yeah, the soundtrack's amazing, or oh man, the gameplay stuff. Like my takeaways from that game are purely cultural and purely about the ways that I think about my own culture, and how I think about my parents and how they raised me, right? And like I think that could be a review as well. Like that there are so many ways that you can talk about video games, but they're all through our own lens that are going to hit each of us individualistically. And so, which I might have made up the word, but like I think that's the power of art, and that's the power of video games. And so for people that are like, oh, every video game review needs to be objective, it's like, oh no, that's like a very boring and uninspired way to think about video games and the way that we talk about video games.
That's kind of like whenever the person said that, I was thinking to myself, Anchorman, like, today we're going to discuss this and
Yeah,
only this. Like, no, of course not.
exactly.
You know?
You've done like quite a few reviews for
I've
IGN.
done, oh gosh, well, no reviews for IGN. I've done guides. So I'm mainly a
Guides for
video,
IGN.
yeah, I'm mainly a video editor, and I do video guides. And the most recent one that I did was for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And that one was more of a comparative guide on what's changed.
Gotcha. For you, is there how do you go about, I guess, like if you're talking about a game, or if you're reviewing a game, or if like you're giving any sort of like opinionated piece of content, like do you have any guiding principles that you abide by? Like do you have any things that
So
you think about?
I think, okay, so to know about that, I kind of have to backtrack a little bit because when I was in college, I got my degree in psychology, and I didn't utilize it in the typical way someone would like go become a psychiatrist or go become a counselor or anything. I wanted to incorporate it into the gaming industry, and I take
Mhm.
more of a psychological lens with the reviews that I do. So, for example, with Silent Hill F, I mainly looked at that game from a psychological perspective in the way that Hinako just drove the entire narrative throughout the entire game of Silent Hill F. So if I'm looking at a review that is purely based in psychology and discusses the human brain in its motifs and separate things that go about the game, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry.
I feel that it's
Why is this
allergy. I feel
happening?
like allergy season's been hitting me hard.
It's trying to make a comeback right now.
Oh God, it's still going.
But okay, so it's interesting because like there are three things I guide the reviews by. One is psychology, two is how the story flows because I'm a big narrative person. I really love to see how the story works and in the context of the characters, of the motifs, in the entire scope of the game actually, and how it's presented to the viewer and the player. Another thing is I want to see how the mechanics work because I'm also a big mechanics person. If the mechanics don't coincide well with how the story works, how the music works, how everything like that, it's one
Yeah,
big like sandwich for me. It has to have all the moving parts connected cohesively, or else it's not gonna work.
yeah, cool. Yeah. Also, I was fascinated just because like I think in this conversation around like the way that we talk about games, right? Like I'm always so interested in what like how people come to the table, and like what perspective that they're coming from. So I think the psychology thing is super cool and interesting. And also I'm the same as far as like mechanics. I'm very much like a gameplay first person.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
that's not to say that I don't care about story. I care about story deeply, but I think for video games, right? Like that's what makes it unique as a medium, is that you're interacting with it. And so some of my favorite games are narrative games, like we just talked about Dispatch, right? But like I love A Life is Strange, I love Immortality, I love Gone Home. But I also think that all those games I just mentioned, you interact with them in very interesting ways, right? The mechanics in Gone Home, I think, are interesting in the way that they guide you through that house, in the way that like they entice you with like the creepiness of it, and the way they guide you through. That's game design in a way that I think is better than a lot of maybe action games might design their games. I think it's all in conversation with each other, and so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and it's one of those interesting things of where like there were some games that I liked where it was going also, but I didn't. like the certain motifs that were used, because there's rare instances of where a game will have overly racist themes like Fallout 3, or it will do different things in terms of the mechanics that don't make sense in terms of the story, that just put me off entirely. I'm just like, no, like Martha is Dead, I refuse to play that game.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
just one thing of where it's just like, I don't think so. Like there's different things of where it's like, I'm very big on, how do I phrase this the way people don't get pissed off at me? I'm very big on having a game be cross generationally acceptable to people's brains in the way that it can help them. Because for me, like whenever I saw Martha is Dead, trigger warning, just putting that out there for people, you in a dream sequence have to take off someone's face, and I feel like since there are new neurons being built every single moment, I have a really big problem with that. Like you're putting, like the developers are putting an idea into someone's head, like what if a kid gets hold of that game, or what if someone who has depression, very severe depression, gets a hold of that game, or it's just like there are so many different factors that go into it, and this is treading on like a very like iffy kind of topic, but I feel like it's important to talk about, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's really interesting. And I think, I I said this like a very long time ago. This is like before I even worked at Kind of Funny. And like it was kind of an undeveloped thought a little bit, but something that I did think about, right? Is like I just brought up Gone Home. And Gone Home was a game that I think affected me in such a good way, right? Like it's a game, and I think it's a game that affects a lot of people in such a good way, as far as literally putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and like uncovering the story that is about love and relationship. I guess like not really spoilers for Gone Home, right? But that was something that affected me in a positive way. And like I think there are plenty of video games that have affected me in positive ways, as far as what they have taught me, what how they've allowed me to experience something. And I remember a while ago, like having a thought of like, well, video games can affect us in good ways. Can they also affect us in bad ways? And I think that gets into like a little bit of taboo territory, because video games can, I think, often be the scapegoat for shootings or violence or whatever, that like the government wants to then point at video games and like, see, it's the guns. And it's like, well, why do we have access to guns? But that's a whole different conversation. But like, I do think that maybe there is a legitimacy to, at the very least, like, I think gameplay and story and all this stuff and art in general, not just video games, because I think video games are are just one type of art. But like, are there ways that like, you experience a thing and then that invokes bad or negative feeling, that like maybe it was better off not having experienced that thing? Like, I think that's definitely a fair thought.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, of where like when I first saw that game released, for example, like and my I just want to clarify for people who are listening, I am in no way suggesting that video games are to blame for negative, like those negative things that happen at school shootings or whatever the case may be, because video games are not responsible for people's actions. It has to do
Hmm.
more deeper psychologically, with how the person was either raised, nature versus nurture, and that's a whole other debate we could get into. So
Yeah.
it was, I find it very, very interesting. But it was also fascinating when I did the review for, what was it, Grand Theft Auto 5. And the minor spoiler for those who have not played Grand Theft Auto 5, there is a torture scene in that. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the best games I have ever played narratively. It was so good. What was it? Michael calling Trevor a hipster, is peak. I will.
Oh, it's so good. It's
It's
such a fun moment.
amazing. It is so. It's just like, I'm not a hipster. It's just like, you are. Just admit it, Trevor. You are. It's amazing. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, this game is something special. It's wonderful. But getting into the torture scene and then going to Twitter, which is probably not a good idea, and expressing thoughts as I play the game through, and then getting to that specific moment, there were so many people who questioned why I had an emotional response to that, and I found that fascinating.
Yeah, I mean that is very fascinating. And I think it speaks to a few things. I think it might speak to our defensiveness when it comes to video games, and our unwillingness to allow video games to have an effect on people. Again, this is good or positive, like I was talking about before. I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's a little bit of people maybe trying to do like the get good gamer thing and be like, oh well, it didn't affect me, so why did it affect you? I have my walls up or whatever, or like I am more fortified emotionally. Why aren't you? Like, why do you get so like? I think there's a little bit of that. I guess I don't even know if I would say elitism or just toxic masculinity. It's probably more toxic masculinity, honestly, as far as not wanting to accept that something can emotionally affect you in that way and be a video game. So I think it's a little bit of that, and then I think it's a yeah, I think it's just also toxic gamer culture.
It was so funny
culture.
though, because like someone commented on the post that I did about that, saying, "Well, I am so happy you got to be raised in a stable area when you were a child." I'm like, I think it's more desensitization on our part as a culture, because if we're witnessing something over and over and over again, we are going to be more desensitized to it as a subject matter. It was
Yeah.
so fascinating reading all the responses on that post, because going through the review for that, that was the only criticism I had of the game. I'm you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. To the audience, I did kind of cry. I cried. I sat back in my chair and I was like, oh, that's heavy. That is a heavy moment in a game to experience, because it is something of where like I really kind of feel proud of myself that I get very emotional with games because I let it be absorbed into who I am as a person.
Hmm.
But I've noticed that there's this kind of tough attitudeness whenever it comes to certain players, of where it's just like, I'm not gonna get emotional about stuff, and it's like, let the game affect you, please.
Oh yeah, I remember. I think about often. I mentioned on a podcast. This is in 2020 when Fall Guys came out, and it had freshly come out on I think PS Plus or something, and I played it, and I remember mentioning on a show that like, dude, Fall Guys is so good that I teared up playing it,
Oh, I
and
love that.
the yeah, and the response I got was like, you teared up playing Fall Guys, and I'm like. Yeah, I like you gotta think about like it was like not even middle, it was like early pandemic. I'm stuck at home, I'm by myself. Like looking back, I was like probably fairly depressed. And Fall Guys filled me with like such joy, and it was such like it was such like a like a hit of fun, right? Like a hit of like joy, and like that was enough for me to be like, damn, I'm like tearing up playing this game. I'm like, this is like such a breath of fresh air. But yeah, having expressed that, like I think back to like how funny of a thing that was to express, but then also like how real and vulnerable that is, as far as like letting letting video games let you feel emotion. You know, it could be joy, it could be fear, it could be sadness, it could be shock, it could be like whatever it is. But I think that's beautiful about video games.
It really is. And I think, one of the best games to have a good cry to is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, hands down. Like, that
Mm.
is such a beautiful game. If anyone hasn't played it, please, you should play it. You will lose all of the tears. Like, you think you had tears before? No, you have tears now. Okay, it is absolutely crazy how much a game like that can make someone emotional. But going into one of the next topics I want to discuss, speaking of games that make us emotional, what was one of your top picks that you have played this year?
Ooh, top picks of this year, and you only want one of them.
Well, it can,
Oh,
if you want to only do one of them, I want to be lenient and do like maybe like a top three that you thought were absolute bangers this year.
I don't want to give away my game of the year list, but I'll pick one of them to talk about. We already talked about Dispatch, so I won't pick that one. Um, Everybody talks about Clear Obscure. I'll talk about Keeper. Keeper is like in my. It's probably gonna end up by the time we get to the end of the year in my top 10 games of the year, and it's a game that I feel like got overlooked a little bit because it was a bit undermarketed, and it's definitely a niche sort of game. You play as a lighthouse, which is tough to market next to Call of Duty. And so I, I get that aspect of it. But you want to talk about a game that gets you emotional, like Keeper. I've talked about art a lot on the show, but like Keeper is another game that I think was a nice um, direct example of video games working as a work of art, where playing it reminded me so much of playing a Shadow of the Colossus, even though it's such a different ass game with a different energy. But just in the sense of me experiencing a thing that I can't take my eyes off of, because moment to moment, I'm just in awe of how it looks and how it moves and what they're doing without even saying a word. I love games that let you just be in the moment and let you just get lost to what they're doing. And Keeper, you're you're playing as a lighthouse with like a bird that you're hanging out with, and the bird will help you solve puzzles and stuff. And it's very colorful. I feel like I'm like describing a drug trip as I'm describing this game, but it's very
Alice in
colorful.
Wonderland current day.
Yeah, like genuinely. And you're walking through and you're solving these environmental puzzles, and like the way the lighthouse moves, it has like a bunch of spider like legs, and then like it'll lean and move in ways that are like, man, this looks fucking cool. And then things happen, I won't spoil it, but then like the game shifts and moves around and like turns into other things essentially. I fucking love that game. It wasn't like perfect to me, and no game's perfect, but like, there are certain things they do as far as like some of the shifts and changes throughout the game that I wasn't the biggest fan of. But overall, I got mad respect and mad love for that game just because it made me feel something. And so that's
I
definitely one of
love
my
that.
favorites of the year.
So I have to say, my favorite of the year. Oh gosh, there's so many good ones that came out this year.
Yeah.
It's so interesting though because I've played games that came out years ago that I'm just playing now for the first time, like the Mass Effect series. It was interesting because oh gosh, there was one that I played, and I'm gonna have to cheat and go to my Steam list actually really quickly. Don't tell anybody. But it's funny to me because whenever we're picking our favorites and everything, I see so many people do lists of like already what is being nominated for the Game Awards, which just shows the popularity. Like Silksong, I haven't gotten to play Silksong,
Mhm.
but I would have to say so far my favorite that I played this year came out a while ago. Is Hollow Knight. I'm almost done with it. It is, I think, the best Metroidvania I have ever played. It has
Wow.
very Dark Souls DNA in terms of how the map design is because it's very fluid, it's very connective. The characters and the lore in and of itself is so philosophical. There's so much psychology imbued without the entire universe of the game. And throughout it, you're playing as a soul. You're playing as this husk that is trying to figure itself out. It's like the soul that's still fighting. Like I love the whole concept of how the game is structured.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to get back around to playing Silk Song. I tried the first Hollow Knight, and I played like 7 or 8 hours of it. But I'm terrible at Metroidvanias. I just get lost sometimes. And so that happened to me. And then Silk Song came out, and so I was like, okay, let me play a little bit of Silk Song. But I moved on from it because I also wanted to play other games that are coming out of out at the time, like Ghost of Yotei and stuff. And so I really want to get back to it because that game is definitely one of the talks of the town as far as game of the year and all that stuff. And so for kind of funny's game of the year, I want to definitely check out a bit more just so I can make sure that like I either I make sure I do my due diligence on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is like when I was playing, it's funny because I'm playing through Hollow Knight. I've already clocked in over 130 hours.
Oh my god. That's a telltale sign right there of like you're of loving a game. If you can hit
It's
that
so
100 hour
good.
mark, I have I think if
It's
you
so
hit
good.
100 hours in a video game, that game automatically gets put into like an elite list for you. You
I think
know?
my top hours I have in video games right now is Hollow Knight, Elden Ring. I have over almost 500 hours, and same with Bloodborne. With Bloodborne, I think I have over 440 hours into that
Oh
game, and
my
I'm going
god.
for platinum right now.
I was gonna say I don't think there's 440 hours of things to do in Bloodborne.
It's literally actually all guides that I do because whenever I because
Oh,
on my main channel for Huggable Hipster I do mainly Souls and Souls like content. So I did a guide for like Daddy Gascoigne, Father Gascoigne. Sorry, you guys. I did a guide for Orphan of Cause for a parry only run, and same thing for excuse me, camera.
I was saying, did your camera just move?
Yeah, yes, it has like the AI thing. If I hold my hand up for too long, it's like, hi.
Oh, okay.
Excuse, okay, rude. Okay. Yeah, before when I was doing guides and I strictly made my stuff like Souls and Souls like content, I was like, okay, I have to be able to like to proficiently talk about these things. So I clocked in so many different hours doing run after run of the game of trying to perfect stuff with Orphan of Cause because after playing that guy now like 3 times, I want to say, it's become a cakewalk. It's like, it's such a good
Oh
boss.
man,
It's
Orphan of
so
Cause, that stumped me. Like that was a hard boss for me. That was like the first boss fight I think I'd ever had where I was like, this is unfair. I like not that it was actually unfair, but like that might have been like 10 hours of me just like fighting Orphan of Cause before I finally beat it. I struggled with that one. But it was a really good feeling when I finally took it down. But that was definitely one of the ones where I was like, damn, dude, this guy's kicking my ass. I don't know what to do. That rarely happens to me to that level.
I felt the same way when I was playing Sekiro, and I was on Ishin Sword Saint for over a week, and I could not get that asshole down. And when I finally beat him, I was like, if I can beat this guy, I can beat anything, any game boss in the world.
That was definitely another tough one. I think that took me like a couple of days, but like by the time I finished it, I was like, oh, thank God. But it definitely is like that such pattern recognition and all that stuff. But I finally got there. It was still somehow easier than Orphan of Cause for me. I don't know what. Yeah, Orphan of Cause just has like a lot of weird movement. Like he'll jump diagonally, but then like swing his thing at you, and so it's like a sweeping attack. And I'm like, what angle do I dodge this at? What's going on here?
Oh man, you gotta dodge that placenta sacky wacky.
Fucking the Saki Wacky was whacking me, dude.
It's so funny to me because when I was doing the guide for the thing for the parry only run, people were like, you cannot parry Orphan of Cause. And it's like, there have been guides all over the place parrying Orphan of Cause. Same with Lady Maria of the Astral Clockwork Tower. You can do a parry only run of her as well. It's way easier too. And the key to doing that is tripling up the claw mark. If you Carol rune that and you triple it up, it makes the visceral so much more powerful.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I fucked up Lady Maria. Like she did not stand a chance against me. There's a clip of me essentially like trapping her into a corner of the room and just fucking wailing on her and like just took out all of her health. It's great.
It's amazing. It's such an amazing feeling where it's just like, no, I am the Dark Soul now. You stop this.
Yeah. Like I am the boss. Locks the door.
Exactly. It's just like you did. No one say a word. You're staying in here. You have another life. Okay, Marika from Elden Ring will revive you. It's okay.
Yeah. I look at Lady Maria. I'm like, I hope we did a bonfire recently because they're gonna need it.
Right. Exactly.
I'm about to take your souls.
I'm curious now. In the Souls and Soulsborne that you have played, which one would you rank as one that you absolutely love, without a doubt? This is a question I had prepped, but I'm just curious.
I mean, multiple, but like, if I had, I have a soft spot for Sekiro. Like I think Elden Ring is probably the best I've played. Bloodborne is like the Bloodborne is like the one that got me in, right? Like that's the one that I have a soft spot for because it got me in. But Sekiro, I think it's just the most fun, and I have like I love fun. Like I love fun.
Who
so
doesn't
much.
love fun?
And I think Sekiro is the most fun. Like I just love playing that game, and I love the ethos of that game. And so I'll say Sekiro's my answer. I'll say Sekiro.
Nice. I think my answer would be Elden Ring, and I'm a little biased because I platinumed that game last year, but it's amazing.
Nice.
My favorite thing about that game is the fact that you can do so many different kinds of builds. Like you can be poison, you can be dragon, you can do so many different things. And right now I am a Moonlight build with the Moonlight Greatsword, and I'll post a picture up here in stream, and I'll send it to you on Discord. But it is one of the prettiest games I think that From Software has done besides Demon Souls. Like it is just so good. Yeah. I think, what was it? My introduction into Souls-like stuff was in 2021, and it was with the original Dark Souls game, Dark Souls 1 Remastered. But we've gone into games that we are playing currently, the games that we like. Let's go into the games that we were not so fond of this year. So I'm curious, Blessing, what games were you not so fond of this year that just didn't get the IGN 7?
Not so fond of this year. That's such a good question because I have to think about it. What game did I play that I wasn't fond of? Because I think that I'm so quick to drop a game. That's something about me, is if I'm not feeling it in the first like hour or so, I'm like, all right, peace out. Like I'm on to the next thing. Like I'm not gonna waste my time playing a game that I'm not as into, which is, usually not the case is when you're reviewing games, usually like as a reviewer, it's like, all right, well, I'm assigned to this thing, let me play through it. But kind of funny is so like weird with our, I guess, structure of how we review things, where it very much is like, all right, embargo's coming up. Who's played the game? And it's the people that usually want to play the game that have played the thing. And so we just end up reviewing a bunch of things that are a bit more positive of, or things that we have more of an opinion on, right? Like there are games that come out in series that you're looking forward to where you play through it and it's like, ah, oh, damn, all right, that didn't do it. And so like we'll review those as well. But because we don't review everything, I feel like we don't have as many negative reviews. But I know I played, hold on, I'm bringing up a list because I list out all the games that I beat in a year. So I'm gonna see if there's anything that I've rolled credits on, which would surprise me if I rolled credits on something I dislike. But there's a chance. I like this question. I can tell you things that like hit me in a midway.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Because there are definitely things that I had to roll credits on this year that I was less than fond of. I think I remember telling you one of them over Instagram.
Like South of Midnight, I liked it fine. Yeah, I didn't love that game. I think that game is beautiful to look at. I think the story is good. I didn't really care for the ending, but like I think the story there is good and powerful, and I like what it does culturally, and I like that, like I like its setting. I like so many things about South of Midnight. I just think the gameplay was like so whatever. Like I think the combat wasn't that great. I think like the moment to moment, I don't know, it just felt very cookie cutter to me. And like
very interesting you say that because that's my personal game of the year.
Really?
Yes,
I picked the perfect game.
So for me, I am a big lore and history person. So when I saw that they put Hug and Molly in there, or I like Two-Toed Tom, I was like, oh, they're using all like that. I was just so excited, and it made my heart so happy. I just love Southern culture and lore and history. So whenever I saw that they were putting so much stuff in there, it made the game for me so much more vibrant. The controls for me, that was a little bit of a weird spot. The way that the camera work was sometimes was kind of glitchy, and it was weirdly paced throughout the game. I died a lot for very stupid reasons. Blessing, when I tell you I am so bad at climbing things and going and like trying to like jump to certain platforms, it's bad.
Oh yeah.
Bad. Yeah, it's bad. But there were certain points.
Sorry,
where, like,
I was gonna say that's so funny that I picked that game.
It really is actually. But
it's sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. And I got like so excited whenever you mentioned South of Midnight. I'm like, ears perk up, hello. And what was it? It was part of the thing that actually genuinely made me get out of my chair and just like physically leap with joy was in a boss battle. It got towards the end of the game of where they aligned the music so that with the hits that the player was doing on the enemy or the boss, it would line up with the music. And I thought that
I always love when video games do that. I feel like every action game needs a rhythmic level.
Yes.
That's my one law.
But continue. I freaked out enough for right now.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like I that's the first one that comes to mind as far as like something that didn't live up to my tall expectations for it. Another one out there is Mario Kart World. Again, another game that was, I would say, overall good. Like not a bad game by any means, but a game that I think made a lot of weird decisions that really bogged down the entire experience. I hated like the highway, like freeway levels, like the basically like the intermission levels that they have in Mario Kart World, and that's not a hot take. I think everybody does. They're great for the not road trip, like the long races that I've already forgotten the names of, right? Knockout Tour. They're great for the Knockout Tour mode, but when it comes to playing online or doing the Grand Prix or whatever, like it makes everything kind of feel like one long track, and I don't like that. I think that really took down the Mario Kart experience. And like the open world stuff, it's whatever. Like I'm not even that mad at it because they never said that it was going to be Forza Horizon or anything, so I'm not going to get mad at the game for, you know, making a world and being like, put stuff in it or whatever, or don't put stuff in it. But yeah, I was like, man, there's a whole mode here that should excite me that just doesn't excite me whatsoever. And so that's definitely another one. I'm sure there are games that I liked less, but I think I just forgot about them. Like I could actually, you know what? I'm gonna open up my Steam library.
You know what? That's what I do. If I ever
you have me so fascinated. Yeah.
While you're searching, I will say mine. What my least liked was of this year was definitely Bloodlines 2 from Vampire the Masquerade. As
Oh
a
yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade girly, and as someone who just was so in love with the first one, the way the storytelling was in the first one was just, it was incredible. Excuse me. And the way that the second one did things, it felt like a cop out to a world that a lot of us fell in love with. But it's just, it doesn't hit the same way as I would have hoped the first one did. It's nowhere near an extension of the first game. It's more like this is its own thing, and it has Vampire the Masquerade name slapped across it. So
Damn. Yeah, we
yeah.
just talked about that this morning on KF, about like how it didn't meet its sales expectations. And it's just a very fascinating one to like think about and talk about, just for the kind of game that it is, but then also for you as a fan, right? Like how like the things that it does that doesn't actually work for what you want out of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
it wasn't even an RPG at that point. It was kind of like,
mm,
okay, well, it takes aspects from Vampire the Masquerade, like, ooh, what was it? The way that Fire's character is, you don't get to build the character the way you would in kind of like a TTRPG. Excuse me. You only get to kind of see like different outfits or different things. It's very much like Call of Duty, but make it vampires. Like that's it.
yeah.
It was very much like, okay, just generic feeling. It didn't really make my brain happy in the way that I had hoped. But I don't want to spoil too much about the review that I'm doing, so that's what I'm going to leave it at. But yeah, it was just not. I had hoped more, and I was so excited because for how long it took to get the game out, I expected a lot more.
So as I'm looking at my Steam library, I'm seeing more pop out for me. So the first Berserker Kazan, I
Interesting.
played I played quite a bit of that game. I don't have my hours here. Maybe because I played it on PlayStation. Yeah, I played it on PlayStation. But that was one that like has a lot of good things about it. Again, not a bad game. I think kind of a bit of a bland game. I like the art style though. I love looking at it. I like a lot of the combat, but also a lot of it is like I've done combat. I've done like this style of combat in so many other games, and this version of it doesn't necessarily stand out to me in a bigger way. Um, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves also was another one that didn't hit for me. I love fighting games. Absolutely love fighting games. And I even liked King of Fighters 15, which was the previous fighting game release from SNK. And Fatal Fury City of the Wolves just came and went for me. I didn't really care to get that deep into it. And I'm looking through a rematch I loved, but I stopped playing rematch. Yeah, rematch I think just sucked as far as the like content drops for it. They just didn't keep up with it in ways that they should have. But I liked playing it when it dropped. I liked playing that game a lot when it dropped, and so I think those would be probably be my main answers.
Okay, okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's a nice, like, wide breadth of answers there because, people will either give, like, popular answers as to what other people don't like or anything like that, but
Mm,
that's such unique to what your experience was, and I love that, so thank you.
yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about something that I saw you guys discussing on Kind of Funny, and I saw the commercial for it, and I was like, oh no, oh no, this is going to be interesting. The
Mm.
Steam Cube. That was probably one of the
Ooh,
biggest releases that happened by far of another console coming into the whole sphere, I want to say, of what
yeah.
console releases are. When you saw that trailer, what were your thoughts? Because I thought, oh, this is a console, but a lot of people are saying this is a PC, and someone else is yelling, this is an Xbox. So,
Yeah. Um, Technically, I think it's all those things, and I love it for that. I'm excited for the new Steam machine. It's a PC that is marketed to console players, right? I think you're getting the best of both worlds, and so you're gonna get your Steam library on it. You're gonna be able to probably use desktop Linux or whatever because it's straight up just a PC. It's gonna be able to plug easy into your TV. Games are likely going to be optimized for it because it's a machine that's made by Steam, and Steam has such a presence. And like you look at the Steam Deck, and they have such a good verification system for games working on it, and oftentimes developers will make games for the Steam Deck because it's so popular. I think the Steam machine will very likely get that same treatment because Valve is such a fixture in the gaming ecosystem. Um, Yeah, I only have good things to say about the Steam Machine. The Steam Machine is like the most I've been excited for a gaming piece of hardware in a while, honestly.
Yeah, same here. It's so wonderful to get to see something fresh come into the gaming industry like this. I think it's really awesome to see how Steam is like, okay, well, the Steam Deck was one of our best-selling devices, hands down, no pun intended.
Hmm.
But whenever they put this into the market, I was like, there is no way that this won't sell so much, because we have the PlayStation, we have the Xbox, we have different consoles. So many people want something that already has their native library on it. And this is
Yeah.
going to do just that. And I feel like with how important it is, I feel like nowadays, to have your games linked on different devices, of where when I played Diablo 4, for example, for people who play Diablo 4, you know that if you have it on both your PC and your PlayStation 5, for example, it will link across and you can continue playing off from your PlayStation 5 to your PC. That should be embedded into the core of what every single game is. And now if you're playing one on your Steam deck, you can play it on the little Steam Cube. I like to call it a
Yeah.
Steam Cube. That's going to be coming out. I think that's wonderful. That's something that should be embedded with everything else that you're doing. That kind of intuitiveness that games have now, I think, is absolutely amazing. And I think that bringing this into the competition, the healthy competition of what consoles and PCs are, will not only make Xbox work a little bit harder, to be honest, but it will
Mm.
keep the console game on its toes for at least a little bit longer. Because, from my opinion, at least, I don't think Xbox is going to be in the console game for much longer.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think they're doing a lot of what it feels like Xbox has been trying to do, but Steam has the infrastructure down a little bit more. And I remember Phil Spencer giving a quote. He appeared on Kind of Funny a couple years ago to talk about Redfall. Or not to talk about Redfall, but he happened to be talking about Redfall because he came out the same week as Redfall's release. Damn. But he said that Xbox lost the worst generation to lose, being the Xbox One and PS4 generation, because people at that point locked in their libraries. And so when you hop to the PS5 generation, PS5 Xbox Series generation, it's like, all right, what console do you want? Well, I'm going to buy the console that has all my games already on it because I bought so many PlayStation games. To your point, Steam, people have their Steam libraries. People have already have that buy-in. The Steam Deck has been a very successful thing. I think you're riding that wave of people that are already bought into the Steam ecosystem, which is most PC video game players, and you're giving them another entry into that, and also giving them, I think, something that's just convenient to have. Like I play PC games. I have a PC setup, but like it's all on my desktop. And I think a lot of people have that desktop setup. Hey, here's something that you can just connect to your TV in your living room and have that living room experience. I think a lot of people are I think that entices a lot of people that are PC gamers.
Yeah, and plus it's so small, it's so nice. Like it's so I don't mean to poke fun at the Xbox. They make it so easy though sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not a console war person by any means. Before anyone gets any ideas, but they actually, it looks like what an Xbox should have been. It looks boxy. It looks cute. It looks like a little R2D2 in a way. Like it looks
Mhm.
freaking adorable, and I love it. And the way that its size is so apartment friendly. It's so user friendly, I think, because the way that it a lot of people underestimate aesthetics sometimes, because the way it looks, it will play a big factor into how people set up their living rooms, or how people
Yeah.
set up like a lot of how an area looks in their place. So I mean, like it's not lost on me that aesthetics just play a huge part in any console. When I first saw the design for the Hunky Boy PS5, I did not know what to think at first, and now it's really grown on me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And like you make a really good point as far as that setup, because my PS5, I just have it on the floor next to my PC setup, and like it's so big and so weird looking that I'm like, I don't have a convenient place to put this. And so you're just going on the floor next to my next to my desk. But yeah, that plays a huge factor as well.
yeah, and also, just as an excuse to show off the Steam Deck. I feel like it's one of those things of where, as content creators, it's another plus, because let's say you are reviewing a game that you have primarily on your computer. Well, now you can go and take notes, and as you're, falling asleep or going to bed, play it while you're in bed, play it in the
Yeah.
living room, do all this kind of stuff. There's such a maneuverability, and I absolutely love that of what Steam has done. They made it possible for I think the language in which people are utilizing their technology with to change and mold as time goes on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So one of the next things I want to go into, this is a complete dive off from games to a different kind of gaming, Magic the Gathering, my friend.
Hell yeah.
It is time. So
we
are here, we are present, we are excited, and I need to know, what kind of commander deck are you rolling with?
So I have 2 commander decks. I love building my own commander decks. I think a lot of people will buy pre-cons and stuff, but one of the reasons I like Magic, and one of the reasons I like card games in general, this goes back to watching Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid and liking to play Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid, is deck building and figuring out what the strategy is going to be, and like wanting to put really good cards in my deck and all that stuff. So I have 2 commander decks that I've built from scratch with my 2 hands. The first one is Zimone. I always forget what her full thing is because there's multiple Zimone cards. I'll look it up as I'm talking, but basically, it's a card that allows me to put counters on creatures and spend mana to double the counters on creatures. Yeah, and so like as you can imagine, it ramps up real quick. Zimone Paradox Sculptor is the name of the
I
card.
heard of that one. That's a good card.
Yeah. And I got like a beautiful full art version of it too, which I'm really happy about. It's funny because the card stuck out to me originally just because she's a black woman, and I love seeing black women represented in like a fantasy setting. And then like my playstyle just happened to coincide exactly with what she does. And so it was a match made in heaven where I'm like, oh, I love this character. And then also I love putting counters on creatures. And so my entire Zimone deck is all me building up these big, gigantic, strong creatures with counters, and then also getting benefits off of that. And so I have cards that are like, all right, now draw a card for every creature you have with a counter on it, stuff like that. And so it gets kind of ridiculous and hard to keep track of because I have like a lot of multiplication and proliferation going on. And so sometimes I'll have a thing that's like, all right, now double the counters. And I'm like, brother, I have 500 counters on this creature. This doesn't make sense anymore. Now I'm ruining the game for myself because I'm making myself do math. But it's just a fun game to play. And then my other one that I built a few months ago is Shadow the Hedgehog. I have a Shadow the Hedgehog commander from a secret layer that dropped back in like August. Shadow's card basically makes it so that any creature you have with haste or flash, if it dies, you get to draw a card. And so there's that, and then also has split second. If you cast any creature using an artifact, it has split second. So basically, it's like the gotta go fast thing. And it's really fun to do. It's really fun to try and figure out how to build around it. It's basically me finding any card that I have that has haste or flash. But it's been cool because now I've learned how many of the cards that I have that like, can give other cards haste and stuff like that. And it's a black and red play style, and so I am basically like finding ways to kill things and finding ways to like give people ultimatums as well. Yeah, that's been becoming like my favorite deck to play with.
That's awesome. I am actually currently in the process of building 2 decks for the first time because I'm still learning.
Nice.
I'm still a little bit of a noob when it comes to MTG, but there's a vampire deck that I'm currently building, and there is one card that I like. Okay, I'm looking for like the ultimate vampire card, but I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But I have a full art for it in my deck right now. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'll put it here in the video so people can see it when I remember the name. But there's also a multicolored deck that I'm building, purple and white, with Archangel Avakin and Shinobi the Death Screecher, I think it's called.
Ooh, cool.
I think it's Shinobi. But yeah, Avakin, absolutely amazing. I'm using that as a protector for another angel card that I have, and it states no, the other person cannot win and you cannot lose. So I will be disgusting during that game. Thank you very much.
Nice. Oh my
But
God, that's awesome.
it's wonderful. Like, there are so many different ways that you can play Magic. You can just play casually. You can be obnoxious, which is my preferred play style. But it's one of those cool moments of where you meet such an amazing community, and the Magic community has been nothing but wonderful ever since I got into the community.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. I even started with a oh gosh, why can't I remember the name of it? Let me look it up because my brain is not braining currently.
Is it like a card or is it like a set or something?
It's a set. It was a starter set that I got
Was
at
it
the beginning of the year.
Foundations?
I don't think it was. Oh wait,
Foundations
no.
had like a lot of like, I guess, foundational
It
cards.
was, no, it was a Phyrexian deck.
Oh,
That
okay.
I got. It was one of the first ones because I saw the entire monster design of Phyrexia, and I was like, "Oh, that's very Returnal. That is really cool." And I got it based off of that, and I saw the cards, and it absolutely amazing. There's some full arts actually that look like they have watermarks and watercolor all over it. It's just wonderful. Not watermarks, watercolors. I cannot talk for the life of me. Please, somebody save my brain today.
I mean, listen, we've been podcasting for an hour. This is what happens.
Exactly.
Once you go past that 60-minute mark, the brain becomes mush.
So there are so many different things that have impacted have impacted us, have impacted other players. What is a game that, and I know that you talked about it recently with Vemba, but are there any other games currently that have impacted you in a way that really stapled in your 2025? Like, okay, this was the game for me of 2025.
A game that impacted me in 2025 was also a really good question. And does it matter if it's a video game or like a card game or something?
Doesn't matter. It could be Magic the Gathering. It could be like a moment that you played with your friends with one of your decks. Like, really anything that has to do with the game.
Okay. Yeah, I had to pull up the list of games that I've beaten again to like kind of take a quick glance. But I'd say Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering, I learned about almost like exactly a year ago. It was like last November or something, and Magic took over my 2025. I've played it like I won't say every day, but like most days this year. I've played Magic, whether it's in person with people or whether it's on my phone playing Magic Arena. It's been like a fun source of community, like you talked about there. I went to 2 Magic Cons this year, and it was real fun making friends and meeting people and playing Commander with them as well. Magic is like, if you're a listener or a viewer of this show, I will say that it'll consume you. Stay away. Like it's something that is like really taken over me, and it's been a joy to find a hobby that's like a new thing that I never done before, right? And like I've gotten to enjoy it so much, and it's been like a nice, almost like a nice vacation from like video games being my main thing, right? Or like other hobbies that I've been doing for years. I think it's very rare that you find something find something new that like utterly consumes your free time and like what you want to do. And so yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it as a thing.
So I'm curious, because you were talking about like other hobbies, what are your other hobbies that you have currently? I'm very interested to know.
Yeah. I do a lot of rec sports, and so tonight actually I have a volleyball game that I'm going to. My volleyball team right now, we're undefeated. We're 4-0. This is like the best any of the sports teams I've done any of the sports teams I've been a part of have done in the season. I also played a lot of soccer, and did a few other sports. Did kickball, did softball, but soccer and volleyball seem to be the main ones I stick with. I also, like going out, like going to shows and stuff. I went to like 3 concerts in November. Loved going to stand up. And then trying to think of more hobbies. I like watching stuff. I like watching movies. I love watching TV. Even though like this year I've sucked at watching stuff. Like I've watched like the least amount of movies this year.
I see, like, my movie that I always go back to, though, even though everyone hates it, is Morbius. Like, it's always morbid time in this house, okay?
Oh, wow. Oh,
Like,
God.
yeah. Listen, I enjoyed that movie
we gotta
so
seal off
much.
that house.
Okay, no, listen to me. I have that on DVD. That's how much I liked it, okay?
Oh, Yeah, now, is this like a meme or do you really like Morbius?
I genuinely like the movie.
Oh my god.
I genuinely do. And it's not just because of Jared Leto. In the comments, I don't want to hear it. Okay, it's not just because of him. And for me, I don't know why it itched that part of the joy in my brain where it's like, I can chill. I can just have that on the background and do other stuff. And it's like, me, vampires, like, you guys understand, okay? I absolutely love vampire stuff. It's wonderful. Did it do any justice to the comics whatsoever? No, none whatsoever. But it's a really good,
God.
bad movie.
Oh my lord. Do you watch Twilight?
I used to, damn it.
Yeah, because it's just
I
too much
used
of
to.
vampires. So I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
I was a
I can
Twihearted
see
in high school.
Were you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I was Team Edward, and my choice of men actually shows it. So yes,
Oh god. Oh no.
it's
We
funny.
gotta.
It's so
we gotta
funny to
fix
look
you.
back on. I can fix her. It's so funny
I'm like,
to look back
I'm
on.
big Team Jacob.
You know what? It's a healthier choice by far, honestly.
But is it? Here's the thing. I am Team Jacob because I have the male gaze. You know, like I'm a man, so I'm
That's
Team
true.
Jacob because I see big man with abs, and I'm like, that's my guy right there. I fuck with Jacob.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But like, yeah,
And that's the thing too of where it's like I remember like like I think 14, 15-year-old girl who's watching that and it's just like, oh my god, it's Edward Cullen, and now I look back on it, it's like he was so bad. Like it's like, Bella, I don't want you going out anywhere. I have your car. I'll bring it back to your house. It's like, no, get just a restraining order and go away.
yeah. Oh my god. But I mean, yeah, I fuck with Twilight. I love Twilight.
Yeah,
I watched. I went to a Twilight marathon a couple
Oh,
years
nice.
ago with my friends. It was fun.
Very nice. I think the soundtrack though has to be the best part from the first movie. It was really good. The soundtrack.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it was like a mixtape. I was like, you know what? I may have been born in 1992, but I will always, always love a good mixtape.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Going back a few questions ago to my biggest disappointment of the year, Lost Records Bloom and Rage.
Really?
You mentioning
interesting.
like mixtape for some reason triggered that in my brain. Oh man, Lost Records Bloom and Rage. I was looking forward to that game so much. I'm such a Life is Strange fan. I'm such a fan of like white girl drama. I don't know. like
I love that.
you give me like a high school like drama. I love a Riverdale. I love a Degrassi. I love a Never Have I Ever. Yeah. Like that's my shit right there. Lost Records Bloom and Rage being this almost like spiritual successor to Life is Strange should have done it so much for me. And I played through the whole first part because they dropped it in two parts, which was a mistake. Should have just dropped it all at once so I could have played it. Played the whole first part of it, finished it, and was like, fuck this shit. This shit was mad boring. And like just wasn't it
Yeah,
just dragged
that's-
on, didn't get to the point.
If you like white girl
Yeah.
drama, you're really going to like The Summer I Turned Pretty. That is
Yeah.
peak. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's wonderful. It's based on the books. You don't need to read the books in order to understand what's going on with the show. But I think they only did it for 3 seasons because the author was like, that's how long it needs. But absolutely, it is tea. It is wonderful. Again, the same thing with like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Do I actually care about any of them? No, but the drama is spicy.
Yeah. Oh man.
just wonderful.
Listen. On white girl drama. Come on.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on.
here for it. I'm just here
I'm
for
here-
it. I
I'm
don't
here for
like
it.
as long as it's not my drama and it's someone else's. That's good enough for me.
Listen, if you ever get into some drama, record it for me and send it over.
Right? It's just like this magic deck is better. Hit record. Send it
Hit
to
record.
Blessing,
Oh
and go.
man. Yeah, please.
So this actually leads into a very interesting piece of territory right now. What is a show that you have had that is just like been on the background as you're working, doing a review? It's just hanging out there as background noise.
Ooh, background noise. It's rare. It's not rare that I put on a show as background noise because I do that all the time. But like, well, actually, no. What I do is that I put on shows that I'm earnestly watching, and I do other things, and then I miss the show, and then I have to rewatch it because I missed the details. But like, I don't usually put TV shows on purposely as background noise, because then I get distracted. Maybe sometimes I'll put on like a Nickelodeon thing, like I'll put on a nostalgic thing that's like I watched this when I was a kid or whatever. Um, Hey Arnold, yeah. For a while, I would put on Samsung. Samsung has Samsung TV Plus on some of their TVs, where it's like they'll have channels that are like just these like reruns of random shit, and they have a Nickelodeon channel. It's like here's 90s and 2000s Nickelodeon stuff, and it's just
Oh
like
my god.
fucking SpongeBob on repeat or some shit.
Oh my
And so I'll
god.
do that.
It's not just a boulder, it's a rock.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? What do you put on in the background?
I normally have either Grey's Anatomy, Pretty Little Liars, or what do I usually have in the background? I'll have like Oppenheimer on in the background actually.
Oh,
I really love
interesting.
Oppenheimer. Yeah, like I'll listen to it in the background, but like, or my favorite, my comfort film, Devil Wears Prada. Have
Mhm.
to, have to. Or I am a big metalhead, so I will listen to Lorna Shore or Sleep Token in the background, or Pantera. I'll have just that playing on in the background while I'm like cleaning or writing a review. So
Like this has been such a adventure because you talking about how much you love Morbius genuinely, and then being like, yeah, I put Oppenheimer on in the background. Like that's an insane
it's
thing.
just such a
I hope you know. I hope you know how insane that is. Watching
I know.
Oppenheimer in the background, but being like, "Oh yeah, no, I fuck with Morbius though. I love that movie."
Oh my god, no. Imagine if Greg were here and he heard that. He's just like, excuse fucking me, what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I feel like he
Oh, he
would just
probably
absolutely.
he might agree with you. Greg has terrible taste in
He,
movies.
what? You know what? We could have terrible taste in movies together, okay?
Hey, you know what? Fair enough.
What was, in terms of kind of funny, what was one of the most memorable moments this year for you guys?
Oh, for kind of funny this year. Um, I think a lot of it has been like the marathon stuff that like Mike and Roger have been doing. Like I've not been a big part of it because like usually I'm busy doing like KFD and Gamescast and stuff. But you know they did like two Death Stranding marathons. They did a Silent Hill marathon, and they're good about having random gimmicks and stuff. And so while playing Death Stranding, they're having Mike on a treadmill the entire time, walking. Yeah, walking with Norman Reedus, and you know I think they do such fun like event streams that like get people hyped and people love to watch. I'll shout out KFG 3000. That was one that I worked on. It was our 3000th episode of KFG, and I love being on that show. I love producing that show. I like talking about video game news and like the industry and stuff, and so you know being able to put together a kind of like a mega episode that was covering like the history of video game news and like covering a bunch of headlines throughout the 2000s and all that stuff. I said 3000. I think I meant 2000. Um, yeah, like all of that stuff was great. And so definitely KFD 2000 was an event for me.
That's amazing, though. And, you know, going off of that, I feel like, you know, each year, I feel like in this industry kind of gets heavier and heavier as time goes on. I'm curious, what was for you personally, like your own personal, like, oh my gosh, this is like, I did this. I can't believe I got to do this. Like, what was one of those moments for you? And if you have more
Oh,
than one, you know, you can tell it.
one of them I can't talk about sadly.
Oh,
But I'll be able to, yeah, it's like embargoed, but the what like probably the coolest thing I got to do this year yeah, it's like something I can't talk about yet. But I'm trying to think of another one. I think the other one was just going to like MagicCon twice. Like that was such like a fun thing, you know, it was different from what I had done before, and you know, it was such a blessing getting to like do that based off of a hobby that I just picked up, and you know, now it's like now we're flying to Atlanta and I've never been to Atlanta, and that stuff was really cool. What was the other one? I guess going to PAX, I'll say as well. Um, I had been to PAXs before, but it was nice going to PAX West, which was I used to live in Seattle, and so I used to go to PAX West every year. But this is my first time going to PAX West after working at Kind of Funny, and it was cool to like be at the same convention, but I'm running into people that recognize me, and like I don't know, it felt like such a cool return to a thing, but like post, you know, now having this position in the industry that like you know gives me this like recognizability that like has now created this whole new experience going to this event that I love.
That is so cool. Oh my god, I'm so, like, is it weird to say, like, I'm so proud of you? Like, that is absolutely amazing. Like,
Oh, thank you so
seriously,
much.
like that is just so cool to see you getting, like, you're doing what you love, you're doing an amazing work, and I just want to say, like, seriously, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing an amazing job at it. So,
Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it. You keep
yeah.
doing what you're doing. Yeah,
Thank you. No, I feel
yeah, yeah.
like for me personally, there are two things that I did this year that I'm just so incredibly happy about. The
Mm,
fact that I went to LA for the first time for my first preview event, and that was amazing. That
nice.
was actually where we met for the first time, was at the
Yeah.
Lies of P preview event, and I thought that that was pretty cool. Of where when I got to see that, I was like, okay, wow, this is actually sinking in. Like, I went for Windows Central, and I got to write an article and do a video on it, and that was the first time I was like having major not Stockholm syndrome. Jesus Christ, that's not what I was gonna
Oh, like
say.
imposter syndrome.
Imposter. Thank you, imposter syndrome. And I was like, do I belong here? Like, what is this? And then people were running into me saying like, oh hey, Era, how are you? I'm like, how do you know me? How do you know me? And it was such a cool feeling. It was so surreal, and it was so just an honoring thing to get to do that. The other thing that I think was just at the top, like nothing can else can top this, was in February being hired as a freelance video editor and guide writer for the videos at IGN. So I think that that was
That's
just
awesome.
really, really cool. You know,
That's really, really cool.
yeah, getting to do freelance work for them has been absolutely amazing. Shout out to Mark Medina, my assigning editor. He is just a wonderful human being who has been a tremendous help in me finding my voice as a video editor. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah. So one of the next topics actually is going to be the last topic that we go into. And I just want to say, Blessing, thank you so much again for joining me on this podcast. It has been wonderful.
Yeah.
You
Thanks for
know,
asking like such interesting questions.
of course. It's so I'm not sure exactly how this question will come across, but I feel like people are going to get a laugh out of it.
Mhm.
So you have a pizza party. The Kind of Funny team is there. Everyone is getting ready for it. You are getting ready to be able to have the time of your life. What
Mhm.
pizza are you having? What game characters are you inviting? And what industry folk are you inviting?
Okay. I'll give you two different pizzas. The first pizza is just pepperoni because that's my favorite topping. I love pepperoni pizza, and everybody loves pepperoni pizza. There should always be a pepperoni pizza at every party that has pizza. So that's my first answer. My second one, to get more creative with it, give me a barbecue chicken and like onion pizza. I love that shit.
Very good.
Like
Very
with
good.
like the
I like
barbecue,
it.
like yeah, give me the barbecue sauce. Oh god, I love that.
I want that right
Um,
now.
yeah. Listen, I'm right after this. I'm going to eat because I haven't eaten dinner yet, which I'm very excited. I have Thanksgiving leftovers in the fridge, and so I'm about to chow down right after I get off here. Um, the characters I'm inviting to a pizza party, video game characters. Um,
Also, once you know, we're going to
ooh,
have a good drama with Greg and Mike. So.
mm, mm, mm. I'll say, ooh, who would I want to hang out with? Because I was about to say Verso, but Verso, he might be like kind of depressing to hang out with. I don't know. Actually, no, he seemed like a good time in the game. I'm gonna say Verso. I think Verso actually like based off of like when you first encounter him in the game, like he seems chill. Um, who else? I'll invite. You know what? Miles from the Spider-Man games.
Miles, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd invite Peter, but like they changed how he looks, and I don't like him as much.
He got some plastic surgery going on.
Yeah, I'm like that's not my Peter. Give me back my Spider-Man 2018 Peter.
Give
And
me back my
then I'll give
Tobey
you one.
Maguire Peter.
Yeah, and I'll give you one more character. I'll hang out with. Ooh, well, actually, let me look back at this list of games that I played this year. Um, can I invite just the Lighthouse from Keeper?
Absolutely. You know, you need a sturdy structure at any party, okay?
Yeah, yeah, somebody to like spice things up, have people ask questions of like, yo, what is that?
Great
Yeah, I'll bring a
conversation piece.
a conversation piece for sure. The Lighthouse from Keeper, I'll invite to the party, even though I don't think you can eat pizza.
Very nice.
Um, and then was there another question there?
No, it was just like any game characters or industry people that you wanted to invite.
Oh, industry people. Um, ooh, industry people. Kojima.
Oh,
I feel like him in the
nice.
Lighthouse would get along.
Yes.
Um,
It's a philosophical marrying together, okay?
yes, I think Kojima would appreciate the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Reggie Fils-Aimé, even though he's not really like, I guess he's still in the industry, even though he's not really in the industry. But like Reggie, I think would be cool just for wisdom, I guess. And then let me give you one more industry figure. I'll say, oh, you know who's chill is Tim Schafer. I like Tim Schafer a lot. Yeah, I've gotten to meet him quite a few times, and he's like a really fun dude, good energy, and very creative. And so Tim Schafer would be
Yes.
my answer.
Oh gosh, see now you have me thinking about which ones I would pick. So right off the bat, plain or pepperoni pizza. You know, just having those
Mhm.
staples there important. But my personal pizza that I would bring into the mix, and you probably much like Morbius, you're going to judge me for this. But it's going to be pineapple. It's going to be broccoli and mushroom on top. And
All on one pizza?
one pizza. I love it. It's one of my favorite
Oh,
pizza stuff. And it's going to be just like a regular pizza coating underneath, nothing fancy, but it is going to be those toppings on top with like an extra crispy crust. So,
okay.
yeah. And the sweetness combined with the broccoli, I don't know why it's good. I don't know why my palate likes it, but I don't know. It's interesting. Let's see. Who am I inviting game character wise? I'm going to invite Artorias because he's my man. I love him.
Nice.
And then let's see. I'm going to invite V from Cyberpunk 2077. Just because, he always has, depending on who you pick, always great conversations. Let's see. Who else? Who else? Hazel from South of the Midnight. Absolutely, hands
Yeah,
down.
I was thinking about Hazel
Yeah.
from South of Midnight.
Yeah. Hazel, absolutely a legend. There's one that's in my head. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking over my games right now to be like, which one was it that I wanted to? I wanted to invite. Oh, wait a second. Where? Oh no, Alan Wake. Absolutely, hands down, Alan
Oh,
Wake. I feel like
you would bring such depressing vibes to the party.
let me rewrite how this party goes now. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let's see. In terms of industry people, let's see. Sam. Oh, Sam Wake. No, Sam. Oh gosh, what's his
Same like
last name? Yeah, Sam. Sam Lake. Thank you. I'm inviting Sam Lake. Laura Bailey. Have to invite her.
Yeah.
And who else? There was one other person I wanted to invite. Kojima's already going to be at your party, so I could just go over there.
Yeah.
But who else? I know there was one other person I wanted to. Oh, the guy who does the voice. I was about to say the guy who does the voice for Sam, but it's Norman Reedus. Jesus Christ, he is Sam. So yeah, Norman Reedus is going to be at the party too. So
Okay.
yeah,
I like
for
the
sure.
idea of Norman Reedus as
Yeah,
a games industry person, but you're right. He does voice the main character in like one of the biggest games of the year, so
yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like, those are really actually pretty awesome parties that we got going there. Besides Artorias, he might fuck shit up a little bit.
We gotta merge the parties.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Can you imagine the Lighthouse and Artorias just looking up at one another being like, are you a boss or what are you?
Yeah, it's like, what's your role in the game?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But thank you so much, Blessing, for being a part of this podcast. It has been absolute joy discussing this stuff with you.
Hell yeah, yeah! Thank you so much for talking to me and inviting me on. This is actually absolutely fantastic. And honestly, you got conversations out of me that I never thought about, which is really I like is a huge compliment because I talk about video games multiple times a day, like for hours and hours on end a day. So sometimes I feel like I've talked about every single thing that I need to talk about, but you did a great job of like finding the things because let me tell you, I forgot I played Lost Records Bloom and Rage this year. Thanks for getting more conversation about that out of me.
Of course. And, I think I take that as such a huge compliment because it's like sometimes I will think, oh, did I ask the right questions? And then that's just reassurance that it's like, no, I actually did. So that's really awesome. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
If you guys want to check out Blessing's content, be sure to hit the description down below. Thank you again for joining me, Blessing. And if you guys want to check out any of my content, please also be sure to hit down all the links that I have down in the description below. You guys can check out my music reactions, Huggable Hipster, where I talk about Souls and Souls-like content and reviews, and this channel for the Gamer's Respite. May your coffee treat you well and life give you a nat 20. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, you guys.